Today I want to talk to you about the power of listening. Listening and paying attention to what is going on around you. So for a long time, I was a talker. And it wasn't because I wasn't a know-it-all, but I would go into situations and just be uncomfortable with silence. So I would talk. And what that ended up looking like sometimes, and I totally apologize if you're watching this and you're like, yeah, Amy, you totally did that, would be I would like interrupt. And it wasn't because I thought what I had to say was more important. It was because I've always wanted to connect. And if someone was saying something and I had some connection or it connected, I would want to say it. But I've really, these past 18 months, focused in on listening and paying attention. So when I did my Facebook Live, when I asked Mel Robbins for a job, there were a lot of comments. And I read every single one, and I paid attention to every single one. And one of the comments, this gal that was in my group named Bree, she wrote, "Oh my God, this sounds like Barnes and Edison." And I read it and I just kept going. It didn't have a connection for me. I didn't have that background knowledge to connect what that was. Well, then this guy, James, pops in and says, I think he didn't know what it meant, so he went and Googled it. And he came back and he said, "Amy, if you don't know what this is, go look it up." So because I paid attention to those two people, those very special people, I did go look it up, and that reference was to Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, which I had heard about, but honestly, my mission in doing what I'm doing, it's never been to get rich. So that wasn't a book title that I was like, oh, that's a book for me. But the title is deceiving because I looked this book up and it was amazing. And so I downloaded it on Audible. And that wasn't really doing it for me, but then I found a workbook. And I just want to share this with you. So I got this workbook, Think and Grow Rich. I ordered it on Amazon. This thing is a gold mine for anybody that has an idea for a business, or you're in a business where there's potential to make more money. And if you have bigger dreams. So I immediately, call my partner in crime, Joelle, who owns her own pediatric dental practice. And I said, "You've got to get this book." She ordered it. So now we get together every week, we mastermind with this book. And the cool thing that happens is it's one of those things where you take action. You start. Where I started in this book, when I started this book, I was still working in my other job, that job that I ended up quitting. And the thing that was so cool, there's a part in this book, and they talk about burning your boats. And what that means is there was this colonel, and he went into battle, and this battle was on an island. And he told his men, "You're winning this battle, you have no other choice. I'm burning the boats. There's no way off this island." And so because he did that, they ended up winning the battle because there was no turning back. And they used this burning the boats for you to know, to get to that next level, you've got to burn some boats. And I was really holding myself back. I wasn't happy in that consulting job. Even before that teacher that I adored got let go and I was getting no help, it was not an inspiring job. I was not surrounded by inspiring people. There were a few, and if you're watching this, you're one of them because you're one of my friends on Facebook. But there were a lot of uninspiring people that they were in it just to make the money. They weren't in it at all for the coaching. And that always it didn't sit well with me. It just didn't sit well. And so here's the thing. Once I burned my boats, once I quit that job, is when I've really just skyrocketed in all these other areas, and how I'm taking this keys to courage and making things happen. And anyhow, I just want to recommend this book, and I also want to recommend tuning in and listening. And Bree and James, just thank you. I adore you both. Thank you, Bree, for thinking of that. Thank you, James, for Googling it and telling me like I need to go look that up, because that book, this workbook, really changed my life. It was one of those steps, those keys to change my life. So listen to people around you. There's all these nuggets of wisdom, and if you're just willing to grab them, that's where the magic is.